What's up everybody? My name is John. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. Today I'm going to be speaking about my journey into medical school in South Africa, how I got in, why I wanted to do medicine, and I'll throw in some tips and some handy advice for anybody that's embarking on the same journey that I undertook this time last year in 2020. If I can make a difference in at least one person's life and add value, I've done my job. So I'm going to start off by talking about when I initially wanted to start doing medicine. It was one day on a farm in Johannesburg, which is a little small farm town outside of Johannesburg in Gauteng in South Africa. And my grandfather was a general practitioner, as we call a GP, and he was working on a farm. We were actually having a Christmas lunch, and two middle-aged adult men came to the window while we were having lunch, and one man was holding his eye. Anyway, my granddad called to me and says, "Jay, come with me, let's go and help these guys." So we walked out of the dining room where we were having lunch, and we walked outside, and this guy was with his brother, and he was bleeding profusely from his right eye. And my granddad said, "Go and get him a bucket of water, and I'll get the rest of the suturing kit and anesthetic and any disinfecting agents that we'll be using." So anyway, I sat between my granddad's legs. I was only 6 years old that day, and this gentleman was a bit inebriated, so he didn't really need anesthetic. He didn't really feel anything. Anyway, my grandfather disinfected his eye, and we actually stitched him up. He let me sit in his lap. I didn't actually stitch the guy up. Don't worry, I was only 6 years old, but we actually stitched the guys up, and I think we made a huge difference in those two men's lives. Anyway, 2 weeks later, he actually lost his eye, unfortunately, but we did the best we could with what we had. And I think that day, for me, made a huge impact on me as a person and in my life going forward, because the skills that my grandfather had made such a huge difference in that man's life in a rural area where getting to a hospital would have maybe taken him an hour and a half. And from that day, I really knew I wanted to do medicine, and I wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to help people, and I wanted to learn these skills that my grandfather had. Anyway, so I went through school and I tried my best. I did the best I could with my grades. I knew medicine was competitive. It's one of those things that we just have to accept. There's only so many spaces, and they're reserved to the top performers, especially in high school. And some people actually end up having to study first, do an undergrad degree, and then move over into medical school. And we only have one university in South Africa that does this, and this is the University of the Witwatersrand in Joburg. It's called the GEMP program, GEMP, Graduate Entry Medical Program, and it is for undergrad students, which is really, really helpful. I mean, for people like me, it really, really did help me achieve my goal. Anyway, going back to high school, I didn't really do very well in matric. My marks were really good. Got an A average, got about 4 or 5 distinctions, but my NBTs were shocking. They were dismal. My results were really bad. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. And at that point, I didn't really realize that was a key factor in determining your, application and if you get into medical school. At that time, I thought I had to reconsider my options. So what happened was I had 3 options. I had the option of doing biological sciences at TUX, University of Pretoria. I had the option of studying optometry at the University of Johannesburg, and I had the option of viticulture and oenology degree in Stellenbosch, which is winemaking. I know it's pretty broad spectrum of choices, but I ended up doing a Bachelor of Optometry at UJ, University of Johannesburg, for 4 years, and it has a honours built in, so it's an NQF level 8. So it has the honours equivalent attached to it. And I knew this would set me in good stead. I would be able to get a job when I finished, and I'd be able to work. I would have a craft, and I'd be able to help people, and it was still in the healthcare field. So I thought, this is a good way to go, and can't go too far wrong, So anyway, I finished it. I finished optometry. I met some really awesome people along the way. I learned a lot of really awesome skills, and I actually worked for a month at the beginning of this year in 2021 as a private practicing optometrist. Anyway, while I was studying optometry, I knew I still wanted to do medicine, and after not getting accepted, it's something that has never left me. So I ended up pursuing a degree and then making a plan to do a postgraduate degree afterwards in the form of the GEMP program, the Graduate Entry Medical program at WITS, the University of Witwatersrand in Joburg. And what's really nice about this degree is you can enter medicine through what I call the backdoor, the unconventional route, with an undergraduate degree. It has to be kind of in the science field. Otherwise, you'll have to do a few extra modules and to get the credits necessary to go into third year. So what you actually end up having to do is you write an entrance exam called the WAPT, WITS Additional Placement Test. You have to pass all three components. There's an anatomy component, a physiology component, and a molecular medicine component. And what happens after this is you get pooled with the applicants that passed this test, and they consider your results from your undergraduate degree. To be competitive in this pool of candidates, you have to have a pretty high average, around high 70s, I would say 77 plus. But on their website, they actually mention that 60 plus is the minimum. So 60% average is the minimum to apply. There are some prerequisites that I won't really mention now. I have a blog post, I'll link it in the description below, and you can go have a look at that. It breaks down the whole process a little bit more for you. Anyway, I ended up writing the WAPT, passed all three components, which was really, really cool. And one reason I can say that I passed is last year was my final year of optometry in 2020, and in the beginning of the year I was lucky enough to go to a conference in the United States with my father, who's actually also an optometrist, and we attended this conference, and it was called SECO, and it was an eye care professional conference, and they really changed my mindset. I think the people that I met there, the ophthalmologists, the surgeons, and the optometrists that spoke there really changed the way I thought about the industry and where I wanted to go and where I was heading. And I think that made a huge impact on me, and I will be forever grateful for that experience. And after that, like a week after that, Donald Trump closed the borders and COVID hit. COVID hit really hard, and we actually couldn't see our patients at university either. So I'm sure everybody was in the same boat, hard lockdowns. Anyway, the lockdown period gave me a chance to study for the WAPT. And I don't think it would have been that easy if I didn't have that lockdown period, because it is a huge volume of work. Anyway, so after passing the WAPT, you wait quite a while and they consider your final results. And I heard that I had gotten into medicine somewhere in January this year, which was an awesome experience. I was over the moon. Like, there's no way I can describe how I felt that day. Because it is a cumulative effect after about 4 or 5 years, not getting in after school and matric and trying your best, and that dealing with that emotional and psychological strain was quite tough at that point. But I do think that having an undergraduate degree really puts you in good stead in your medical career, and you enter as a student into the profession a lot more mature and you have a bit more life experience. Moving on. So anyway, I finished my undergrad with optometry, and luckily we graduated with an NQF level 8, which is the equivalent of an honors degree. Last year I was finishing up, I was doing an honors thesis, which is a really interesting study. I'll bring that up in another video. So why medicine? Medicine for me it's not just about the generic way of saying I want to help people. Of course I do. But I have an insatiable hunger for knowledge, and I think I was very limited within optometry, knowing that I wanted to do medicine in the first place, but I wanted more, and I feel medical school opens up a whole lot more windows for you in your lifetime, and I think your learning never stops. You will be a lifelong student. I really enjoy medicine because it combines a whole lot of daily challenges with keeping up with new and emerging technologies and drugs, and combining that with people and being able to help people in ways that every day it progresses in ways that were never possible before. So I think within optometry I was finding myself quite limited in how I could help my patients, and with medicine I can make a huge difference in patients' lives. So that is one of the main reasons why I did move over. I feel inspired when I hear surgeons talk. So my end goal is to become an ophthalmic surgeon. That might change throughout the years, but right now that's really what interests me and that's what makes the most sense. Anyway, so it was quite difficult for me to move over from optometry because I had financial freedom. I was earning a salary. It was quite tough. and I had to ask myself a lot of questions, and I had to deal with a lot of inner doubts and inner thoughts that I had. But I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I knew I wouldn't have put in the work if I didn't really want to become a doctor. So I accepted it, and I really do think that it is a very beneficial approach to getting into medical school, especially in South Africa. I know Wits is the only university that offers this program, and it is awesome for people that are passionate about medicine. So I hope you enjoyed my story. Please feel free to reach out, DM me. I'm pretty good with replying. You can email me, or we can meet up for coffee, whatever suits you. And always remember, don't give up on your goal. If it's anything that's easy isn't worth it, and anything worth it isn't easy, and that's something you have to keep in mind. Good luck on your journey, wherever you're going, wherever you may be, and I will see you in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.